I've been through enough rejection this lifetime to know it hurts more than a funny wax afterburn. Crikey, it can be rough, right? Someone or something looks you dead in the soul and says, yeah, nah, pass. That shit stains the spirit. The older I got, the more I realized I'd been tiptoeing around healing my wounds around rejection. Lord knows I've had my fair share of lessons in it: men, workplaces, supposed friends, strangers, the list goes on. But apparently, the year of Rona had other plans for me. As we all went into lockdown, the universe looked down, rolled its eyes, and said, Righto, Christina, we're doing this one more time. It was to be the last year I recycled this major life lesson. God had simply had enough of entertaining my failure to learn through the school of hard knocks. So there I was, still half asleep in the classroom of life, pretending I didn't hear the bell ring. I've always been a bit slow on the uptake when it comes to life lessons. I take my sweet time, consolidate my notes, and only act when the universe is practically yelling at me, jump or die. That year, though, life decided to go all in. The rejection lessons came fast and unrelenting. It started with an unplanned job change, which, surprise, I didn't handle gracefully. I mean, it was unplanned and there was an adjustment period. The sting of being so easily discarded hit deep. But instead of processing it, I slapped on some lipstick and kept it moving because that's what I did. Needless to say, I ignored the lesson entirely. Naturally, as a committed manifester and back then semi pro avoider, I subconsciously lined up my next round of rejection training. The angels must have been up there shaking their heads, hoping I'd finally pass the course. But surely you can't get rejected by your own team of angels, right? Apparently you can, because the next came because next came the strangers. The checkout operators, petrol attendants, waiters, clothes shop assistants, all of them seemed to have a personal vendetta against my existence. No matter how nice I was, it was never reciprocated. In fact, the nicer I got, the nastier they seemed. I was beginning to think I had idiot written on my forehead. It got to the point I didn't want to leave the house. Every interaction just felt like rejection. It eventually passed, though, but the lesson remained pending. Then came the emotional avalanche, the 6 month late processing of a heartbreak where we had both ended up rejecting each other. I found myself neck deep in emotions and puddles of sadness I couldn't explain or justify. The relationship had ended half a year earlier, yet suddenly there I was, crying like it happened yesterday. My friends and family watched on confused. But you broke up ages ago, they'd say. And all I could muster was, healing's not linear, between drenched gasps for air. It's true, healing happens when you're ready, not when it's convenient. Willing is the key word. If you're not willing to face the wound at any given moment, then the universe will just keep replaying the same lesson in different costumes until you finally get it. When we're not in alignment or prepared to face what's hurting us, we remain active participants in the shit show of the lesson. And it continues until we either get fed up or get dragged to the healing table, kicking and screaming. With me, it had this tendency of always being the latter. Like a kid refusing to go to bed after being told 10,000 times. Damn it, that's me. I somehow seem to always be that kid. By mid year, I was basically hosting a rejection masterclass, except I was both the teacher and the student. So eventually, then came the grand finale. COVID lockdown, boredom hit, and I decided, against my better judgment, to give online dating another go. Enter the handsome Yankee Dark Knight with a heritage that hailed from Puerto Rico. Smooth, funny, emotionally complex, or so I told myself. We started chatting. restrictions lifted, beds were unmade, and for a moment, I thought maybe this one was different. The conversation flowed easily. The chemistry was real. It was fun until it wasn't. All of a sudden, I was overgiving while he started treating me as a less than desirable option. He stopped making time for me, but still reassured me that he wanted to. The delayed replies, the missed plans, the vague excuses. I kept giving, hoping my over effort would somehow balance his under effort. I told myself he was just busy. Deep down, I knew the truth. I was being rejected, and I was too busy performing emotional CPR to admit it. My friends tried to intervene. Christina, you're worthy of being someone's priority, not their option. I'd nod, promise to let it go, and then text him back anyway. Because that's what hope does. It rewrites reality in your favor until reality writes you off. I didn't realize the situationship was showing me how I was rejecting myself because I was the only one that was not seeing it. After an unpleasant confrontation, I snapped. Triggered and exhausted, I cut him off. 5 weeks of silence followed. 5 weeks of me suffering while he went on living, either ignoring me or too scared to admit his own emotions. But there I stayed, hoping, waiting, rejecting myself in real time. And then the final test. I reached out because I'm not just a wild heart, I'm a good one too. We talked. It was surprisingly honest. He opened up about how he felt and how he desperately wanted to do life with me, but his desire to have children, which I no longer could, had him in a weird loop, wanting to be with me, but holding back to protect his heart, knowing it could never be. We reconnected, and yep, we ended up right back between the sheets, wrestling with the same patterns. I'd asked to spend more time. He said he was too busy. I'd confessed my feelings with deep vulnerability, and he responded with a cold, generic line that neither confirmed nor denied anything. And that was it. The sack of potatoes drop moment. The truth hit me hard. I wasn't crying over him. I was crying over me, over the ways I'd been rejecting myself. Again, by overgiving, by abandoning my own needs, by making someone else matter more than me. Holy hell, that realization cracked something open. For the first time, I saw rejection not as someone else denying me, but as me denying myself. Every time I'd settled for crumbs, I was the one saying, that's enough. Every time I'd accepted half love, I was the one starving myself. So, yeah, I cried. But when I realized I wasn't crying over the crumbs he was serving, I was crying because I finally saw the cycle. I did feel liberated, I'm not going to lie. This lesson was pretty brutal, but it was exactly what I needed. It showed me that I'd been the gatekeeper of my own worth. The universe was not trying to punish me, it was inviting me to wake the fuck up. Healing isn't the easy road, but staying in suffering isn't an option when you choose growth. I'm grateful because he helped me see that I no longer need to reject myself. I'm worthy, I'm deserving, and I will never again sit at a table where I must beg for crumbs. In saying that, becoming aware of my pattern was one thing. Purposefully acting to not default into outdated ways of behaving and responding, well, that's a whole different ballgame. But baby steps, right? These days, my devotion is to me. Even as I keep peeling back the layers of my healing onion, one ugly cry at a time. It takes guts, balls, boobs, and a whole lot of self love to stay committed to the process. Sometimes you derail. Sometimes you distract yourself with shiny cuties who look like lessons but are really time wasters instead. No judgment here. A huge part of my healing has been accepting that I deserve more than crumbs. For years, I truly believed I wasn't deserving of real love. And so I kept attracting people who confirmed that belief, who shone it right back at me in my face. The awareness that I was even doing that was the first step. Now that I know better, I can be more discerning about who I let in and who stays behind that gate. If I could go back and tell that version of me anything, it would be this: stop accepting mediocre love. Stop crying over crumbs. You don't need the whole damn bakery because, bish, you are gluten free now. Healing isn't glamorous, it's messy, confronting, and deeply inconvenient. But it's also holy work. It's one of those life things we often turned a blind eye to. God knows I did for years on end, decades even. We know we need to do it. We know our baggage is heavy and it's weighing us down, but we find excuses to look the other way. Nothing changes until we face what's been keeping us stuck in the first place. So, shout out to everyone sitting with their feelings. I see you. Sometimes your heart just needs a bath at 11 p.m. just because. Well, let it be. Cleansing the heart is part of every new chapter. When it purges, let it purge. It hurts like salt to a wound, but eventually it subsides. And it's kind of like a band aid, really. You rip it off, stings, but it will get better. Because once you enter the tunnel, there's no way out but through. And on the other side is freedom, which is worth every damn little bit of heartache, pain, suffering, shit show that you go through. So I, for one, keep going because I know it's worth it.